Hey everybody, welcome to Out of the Ordinary. I am with
Brendan Daya.
and we're going to talk about a few issues related to society here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about homelessness? Or because you were in California for a while,
Long time.
So what do you think about homelessness?
It's a sad current event here in the U.S. and it's been going on for generations. I think the thing that makes me the most angry is how many veterans are homeless.
It's a disproportionate amount.
Way more. Yeah.
It's a disproportionate amount because that's the thing I hate to. Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you for your
of course,
service.
yeah. Which they hate. Most of them hate, by the way.
Kick them to the curb.
Yeah.
It is not.
Thanks
I
for
agree.
doing all those things. Here's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out.
It is awful. So, I mean, why do you think it's so big a deal? Because I feel like it's even gotten worse, or at least it seems out there even more so than normal.
Well, I think
like,
it's
what can
mostly,
we do?
Part of it is it gets bigger in election year, right? It's a hot topic where people want to talk about it in policy,
True,
right?
true.
And then on a more honest level, it's also a serious thing. I mean, you have people living on the streets with obviously no health care, no stability, no nothing. But the strange thing about it is living in Hollywood and not being the richest person, right? I lived, very, very low class. I was on the poverty line for most of my time out there. It could have been just like that, and I could have been homeless. So I talked with a lot of people in the area, right? I worked in restaurants, so I would oftentimes come back with food. I would hand out food. I would go buy things for that. But the funny thing about it is there was a number of actual people that preferred being homeless than actually owning homes and having jobs because they got way more freedoms to live the way they wanted to. I mean, especially in California, you get money for free, that they would just kind of hand out if you qualified. They'd give you phones.
I do know if I was homeless, I would pick California.
Or
great
Hawaii.
weather. Yeah, I mean,
if you get out to Hawaii, that would be worth it. Right?
I don't. What vexes me the most about homelessness, I don't have a solution, by the way. But what kills me about it is, you're right. It's been around forever, and I mean, they've tried everything. They've tried like a long time ago, like it used to be. The way that they would treat homeless people back in like the older days is the saying was, get a job, asshole. Right. That's what they would say, and they instead of handing them money, they'd throw the want ads at them. You know what I mean?
They actually
just give them the whole newspaper on that section, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got
like shame them for it,
right? And then you have you can go to like say Vancouver, Canada, and I think this is where they do it, but they're giving out free needles to make sure they're safe. Every drug is legal, or not, or they're not going to arrest them for it. At least, you know what I mean?
People.
And so it's like the pendulum went from here all the way over here. But I feel like, and everything in between, I feel has been tried. There's money, and yet it still exists, and it's still so pervasive. And so it must be complicated.
You want to hear my conspiracy theory, which some of this is proven, but it's one of those things. One of the things, and this is probably pretty true in California, you have a number of people that are dedicated to fixing the homeless problem via the government, right? They're paying a homeless administration to go and solve the problem. Part of the issue is these people are taking the money and doing little things to try and solve it, but not actually solving it, and then requesting more money.
Sure. In other words, I set up XYZ corporation, nonprofit, bring in some money so that I can make a living. And
absolutely.
But if I solve it, I'm out of work.
If you solve the problem you're hired to do from the government, thanks for doing it, you're now free to do whatever.
Which would make me think that it has to
be.
And
I've heard that story a few times, so I believe it to be pretty true.
Yeah, in that case, that makes me think that the government has to solve it themselves. Because
I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be an organization of private citizens that have money independent of the government, and they work outside of those legal things, and they go and solve it themselves. I think that's what it's going to have to be.
Oh, I see. The other way, not because I was thinking if you take the for-profit or I'm on the government dole out of it. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I see your point.
If you put it, obviously they're doing government entities to fix it, and it hasn't been fixed. So the people that are going to want to fix it are the people that have money and see it as an actual problem that they can't profit off of.
You know what this reminds me of? The book's about like this thick, but it's an amazing book. It was written some years ago by Ralph Nader. I don't know if you know that name. He ran for president once as an independent of the Green Party. But the name of the book is called Only the Super Rich Can Save Us. And he basically, it's a wonderful book. I didn't read it all because it's like, again, it's that big. But he basically, the Cliff's Notes version is, because of our capitalistic society and the way that we have, you know, so many billionaires and things like that,
Right.
it's going to take someone like a Bill Gates
Or an Elon
or a
Musk,
Michael Dell
yeah.
or somebody with a lot of money to like decide to do good,
Right.
because they know
Right.
how to run it. They know they got the money, they got the
And
resources.
You kind of see it. You know, you
Yeah.
start looking at people's names that are in the media doing those things.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know what that says about a society that you would have to rely on people like that to be, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
I
you'd
mean,
think
you
we
look
could,
at old storybooks. It
but
was
he-
the bad old king that had all the money.
but
or
just in
whatever.
general, it just seems kind of like a sad statement on us as a collective
Yeah.
that we can't get it together to help the rest of us.
Yeah.
We got to rely on one person and hope they do the right thing. That seems a little
I mean, right?
bonkers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Anyway,
like people,
but I get
people
it.
want someone else to do it, right?
Yeah.
If someone can and will, why would
Yeah.
they do it themselves?
So along those same lines, what do you think about like substance abuse? I just have that written down because it kind of goes a little bit
Sure,
or
yeah.
part, you know, a lot
Well,
of yeah.
Hand in hand, right? I mean, you're
Some-
talking about homeless people. You're talking about
Yeah, a
oftentimes-
number of them.
A number. No,
Yeah,
that's not.
yeah, yeah.
It's not a complete blanket statement.
No, but there's
Yeah, I mean,
a proportionate amount that's
yeah.
meaningful.
You know, the thing I always think about is you know, I'm 28 years old. I was born in '96, so I've only seen, you know, most of the early 2000s, right? That was
Yeah.
my lifetime. Is really what it is. But you start to think about back in the day, like, you know, the 70s and the 80s with drug problems, right? I mean, there was a time when marijuana was definitely not an okay thing to do. You got caught, it was a problem, and then you got people that were doing acid at Woodstock, and it was very easily accessible. So there's been this weird dichotomy in history with substance abuse, and it's kind of oddities, right? If you look so far back as the Romans, they were dosing their wine with acid to have drug trips. Like, it's not a uncommon thing.
It's
not
always
a
been
new
around.
thing.
Everybody's
right?
got
you can
their
find
version of
mushrooms
peyote or
to the
whatever.
beginning of time, absolutely, right? So it's kind of this interesting thing where, for me personally, I don't know if legalizing all of it is the answer. I don't know if criminalizing it is the answer. I just know it's not going anywhere, and people will find a way.
Yeah.
And so you
Like
start
Chris
to
Rock
think-
says, people are gonna find a way to get high.
Absolutely.
He'll suck a dead lima bean
Yeah.
out of a baby bottle or whatever he said. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
You have
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of a real problem, especially when you put it in abuse. Is using substances always inherently bad? I don't believe it to be, but abusing it, that's the
I'll
problem.
tell you where I would be mad. I would be super mad if I was the person that went to jail for 10 years for weed, for marijuana, and then the next day they legalized it.
You?
I'd be like,
Oh my,
excuse me,
I'd be so
excuse
pissed.
me.
Yeah, you just be like, hello? Anybody?
So about yesterday,
24 hours ago.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I would be out of my mind.
It's just, I mean, there's still
Literally,
people serving
people-
out sentences.
there has
they
to
have
be.
like a bag, like, and nowadays you could walk around with a pound and people are gonna be like,
You'd have to
cool,
go,
dude.
if you were in jail for that.
I'd be so pissed.
You'd have to go crazy.
I would knock the
Oh.
whole cell door down
I
trying
would
to
be-
get
I
out.
would
Going,
be
are you
going-
kidding me?
Yeah, my thing on substance abuse, and I like the way you drew a distinction between use and abuse.
Correct.
Because, like, I'm a little bit older than you, but what I've noticed is that life is hard.
Say it again.
You know what I mean? Life is
Absolutely.
hard, and people have different capabilities, different brains, you know, different families,
Oh, yeah.
and all those things. And so, like, to me,
Situations, right?
Yeah.
Almost how you get brought up, the
I've-
people in your lives.
I've sort of come
Yeah.
around to the position of not necessarily the you do you thing, but that, like, man, whatever gets you through to the next day,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's a brighter one for you, because it's hard.
Yeah.
That said, where I draw the line
Yeah.
is when your use starts to negatively affect other
Correct.
people
Yeah.
that don't want any part of it. That's where I say you have to draw a line.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just my own thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've had friends and family that have struggled with it as well, and
Yeah.
it affects everybody and
Oh,
everything,
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
What do you think about like graffiti and trash, like being all over the place?
So that's
when
an
you see it?
interesting thing.
Okay.
So I've been all over the world. I saw 15 countries in 4 years. I've been as far as Asia and Canada, Mexico. I've been all over. Okay, there are places in Germany where graffiti is a work of art, and there's a town, I think it's in Berlin or somewhere in Germany. I know it's there, where they hire graffiti artists to come in and tag their buildings because it's a
great.
part of their culture.
That's great.
It's a work of art, right?
Wow.
And then you have places like Japan, where if you're in Tokyo, they have no trash problem because it's very impolite to eat and walk. Like if you're in New York City here, you could get a hot dog on your way to work and throw it in a trash can on your way there. Well, in Japan, they don't do that. You have trash cans where you're at, and you're supposed to eat and do your thing there, and then go and walk about the city. So they have no rat problem, no bird problem, no trash problem, no nothing. Because
sounds pretty good.
Sounds pretty good, right? So here in the States, I mean, I honestly think it kind of comes to people taking initiative on their own, even if no one else is. I think really, like, if we want to get to it to fix those things, right? You got to take it upon yourself and walk it out and believe it and do those things and hopefully inspire a couple other people, which is not an easy thing.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I would say this, my little 2 cents on graffiti and trash. I just hate it.
Yeah.
That's it. I just hate it.
That's it? 2 cents?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
What do you have any thoughts on regret? Like, what do you think about regretting things?
You know, I think it's a wise thing to live without it. You know, I heard this thing in a movie. It was called it's called The 13th Warrior, if anybody's ever seen it. It's one of my dad and I's favorite films. It's got Antonio Banderas, but there's a line in there that says, you know, fear profits a man nothing. Fearing something, regretting something, all those, it profits you nothing, right? If you're looking back on past mistakes, don't regret it, learn from it, right? If you made a mistake, recognize, accept it, and don't do it again, right? Why regret it?
Right.
It taught you that lesson.
I agree with you 100%, but I'm going to add easier said than done.
More 2 cents? Yeah.
I'm just going to say
Is this
easier,
the third cent?
Third cent. Easier said than done. Totally agree with you though,
Yeah.
but it's easier said than done. Your version of utopia, the perfect place.
Oh my gosh. Well, it would be kind of a hodgepodge of like big city and big outdoors.
Okay.
You know, if we're talking like a physical landscape, I love the outdoors. I love wild country, but I also love a good concert and city lights.
Sounds like Vancouver.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, and a big ocean somewhere. That'd be nice. Tall mountains, big ocean,
That's
big city, big out nature.
You got to go to Vancouver.
Love it. Yeah.
Okay. How would you measure happiness?
Ooh, people in your life. I'd say so.
Oh, that's a good
I think
answer.
it's contentment in the people in your life is really it.
That's a
Who do
beautiful
you
answer.
surround yourself with, and yeah,
Great answer.
absolutely.
What do you think everyone has in common, or should? All of us humans, what do we have in common, or we
Well,
should?
we're all made from the same things.
Okay.
You cut us all open and you look at everything underneath. There's very little that's different between you and I and everybody else that shares this floating rock.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Okay, that's true.
Thanks, Ben Stiller.
That's
we appreciate
true.
you for the cameo.
We do have, yes.
There's a
we
lot
have,
in common, right?
Yeah, right?
Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
we're all
yeah.
built to the same stuff.
We're all
same
built
stuff.
to the same stuff, right? I mean,
And we all aspire to be happy. We all aspire to be loved, to be, you know what I mean, be
Pursuit
healthy.
of freedom, happiness, liberty, all those things, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to go the other way for the last question.
All right, let's have it.
What are some of the big differences that you think keep us apart from one another? Go the other way.
Wow.
Not in common. What do you
That's a
think?
great question.
Especially
what are the
nowadays,
things that
you know what I
divide
mean?
us? Well, the media is going to say all kinds of things. You know.
Right, because right now, I think it's, I mean, at least if you believe the media, we're in a pretty divided country right now. A divided, you know,
Nation,
you know,
divided world.
divided
yeah.
electorate, divided everything.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think keeps us apart? Use the media. What do you want?
Yeah,
Right?
I would say you can find division between people if you want to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be as simple as the color of your skin. It could be
Yeah.
as simple as the way you sound, the way you talk. I mean, you can always find reasons to find the things that divide us. And I would say that's the biggest thing that does divide us is people that look for those things. You know, past traumas, past things. They're trying to solve answers. They're trying to make questions. They're trying to navigate how hard life is. That it's much easier to focus on that which divides us than what brings us together.
Totally.
Because it's so easy to just live in that state of anger and fear and just lowlessness than it is to try and keep that high.
And also, it's just the human condition to be attracted to differentness. Like as an example, if I've got 100 guys in front of me, all dressed the same, and they're all 5'4".
Yeah.
And then the 101st guy is dressed the exact same, but he's 6'5".
Yeah.
I'm drawn to the difference
Exactly.
immediately. Do you know what I mean? I'm not paying attention to all
That's
the
a
other guys.
great way of
You know what I
looking
mean?
at it,
So it's
right?
like it's just kind of the way that we're
Like,
built
that's out of place.
to
Why
be
is that
to
out
be
of place?
drawn there. So
Yeah.
it's kind of an easy way for us to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But-
no. Yeah. When you put it in a visual aspect, you're absolutely right.
And
It
that's
could be
something-
something that simple.
And that's what we do.
And
That's
what we
exactly what we
right.
do. Yeah, the only other thing I'd add, and this wasn't exactly a part of this question,
Sure,
but it's
sure.
like, I think one of the things that keeps us divided is social media and the algorithms that do that, because basically,
gosh, yeah.
depending on what side of the aisle you on, what you believe in or whatever else, you're getting
You know,
pumped.
how
You're getting
podcasts on
you are
social
getting
media,
you are
yeah.
getting pumped and promoted only the news, which reinforces your position, and you're not getting anything that's of dissent or anything that might have you change your mind. It's just more of the same. And that used to not be the case, and now literally that's the way that it's designed, is to keep you engaged as much as possible. Only way to do that is to reinforce, the behavior and up the ante every single time.
Oh my
and I
gosh,
think
yeah.
that's a problem.
Absolutely. You can have a whole podcast on social media. There's so many things that are good, bad, ugly, all those old spaghetti westerns Clint Eastwood did, right? I mean, you have all those bad things a part of it, and it comes down to just really simply how you use it and recognizing who you are as a person to really divide yourself from it.
Yep. But yeah, and again, I go back to easier said than done. But yes,
easier said than done. Yeah.
Thank you, Brendan. And by the way, you gave me a great idea for another topic. I am going to do a social media one. That's a good one. So thank you very much.